Can I speak English fluently without learning grammar? This is the most common questions people ask when they start to learn English. Well, if you go to people and ask this question that should I learn grammar before starting to learn English or I should just go with the flow, then people have different opinions on this topic. Some would agree that you should learn grammar, whereas there are many people out there who would say that it's normal not to learn grammar and you should go with the flow. So, what is really important? This is the most confusing yet the most important question we all have. See, there is one thing you need to know that learning grammar is helpful a lot. If you're someone who has good command over grammar, then it will be helpful to you to structure the sentence and create sentences whenever you need it without struggling that what I should be using. Should I use have or had or has, like anything? So it is certainly helpful, but it consumes a lot of your time. So if you're someone who is starting out with grammar, like I did just a couple of years ago, it will consume all of your energy. And by the time you complete this grammar phase, you will be drained so much that you would no longer wish to move to the next phase, that learning vocabulary or trying to speak, because you have fixed one thing in your mind that it is really difficult. So I don't really want to learn this language. I remember before starting to learn English in 2024, I have tried learning this language quite many times earlier, but every single time I gave up because whenever I had this urge to learn English, I used to sit with my grammar book, and I had so many grammar books back then. So I used to sit with grammar books and try to memorize the rules, try to understand the sentence structure. And every single time it used to daunt me that it's something seems impossible. So you should not really make efforts to go for it. So just quit it. And that's how I gave up every single time. But this time when I thought to learn English, I had watched hundreds of videos before, and I was already sure that I am not going to pay enough attention to grammar. Rather, I would focus on the foundation of this language. There are many things that play a significant role and that will completely enhance your language, even if you are someone who has never studied grammar. See, I am not going to give you any specific steps or give you tips that you should be focusing on this step or you should be paying enough attention to that strategy, because I am going to talk about my personal experience and I think it will make a lot of sense to you and you will understand that how to learn grammar naturally. I started my journey by focusing a lot more input, and that is listening, watching, reading. We all misunderstand this concept. We think that okay, we have to listen something because in this way we are supposed to improve our listening skill. We have to read out loud because it will help us to become familiar with the sound and it will make our tongue be comfortable with this language. Sure, all these things matter a lot, but we have to listen, read, watch all the and follow all the important steps, because if we do it over and over again, our mind naturally absorbs everything. And this is the best part of our mind, that whenever you do something repeatedly, you will start acting in a certain way without having realized about that. I remember sitting with my books for many hours every single day, watching tens of videos for hours every single day. And when I kept doing these things repeatedly, my mind started absorbing things naturally. And then I started understanding that what is the right way to speak. So initially, I was making craziest amount of mistakes whenever I used to speak. But with time, I started getting better at it. Now, the biggest question you may have that how to understand whether I'm speaking right or wrong. Initially, you don't really have to worry about your mistakes, that how I'm speaking or what type of rules I'm supposed to apply. Should I use have or had, or like I think these are the things you don't need to worry about, because once you do the foundation, once you focus on building your foundation, once you pay enough attention to the input, you will automatically get better at it. And once you have good understanding of grammar, your mind will rectify all the errors and let you know that the sentence you have said was right or wrong, because you have already absorbed a lot of things and now your mind quickly realized that the sentence you have said was wrong or right. So this is how you are supposed to improve your grammar. Coming back to the point of making mistakes. See, we all are afraid to make mistakes because we think, what if I make mistakes and I will have to be embarrassed? What if people are going to laugh at me? What people are going to think of me? But trust me, nobody really cares. I mean, I have been talking to people for over a year now. Like literally every single day I speak with a stranger. And no matter how proficient that person is in English, still that person makes even a minor mistakes. And that's absolutely normal. And when it comes to me, while filming this video, I have made many mistakes. But as long as I'm able to convey my message, what I really want to say, that does not bother much. And another most important thing is that this is not our mother tongue. I'm someone who even makes mistakes in my mother tongue. Like I always get confused with strilling pulling. Even though I have studied in Hindi medium, I have grown up speaking this language. But sometimes we are accustomed to say anything that seems a little bit easier to say, and that's how we just build the habit to say that word. So many times we have this habit to say, like instead of saying barish ho rahi hai, we would be like, okay, pani aa raha, something like that. So I think this is pretty common. We all have this habit to make mistakes, and that is absolutely normal, because when you say anything wrong in your mother tongue, do people laugh at you? Do people make fun of you that, oh, you have said something wrong? I mean, sure, there are a few people who are actually going to laugh at you, but I don't think they matter, because it's your life. You have to understand what actually matters to you. And if you prioritize that much to mistakes, then I don't think you would ever be able to learn this language. I know. When I say that learning grammar is not crucial in order to speak in English fluently, many people would not agree with me. And that's absolutely normal. Because if you think that learning grammar is the most important part, that's cool. Just go and learn that. But I'm talking about my experience. I have absorbed this language naturally, and eventually I started understanding what is the thing I'm supposed to speak and how to structure the sentences and how to create sentences. When I started out, I just focused on modal verbs. So although I knew about modal verbs a little bit, like because back in school we did study about modals, and I just learned the basic of tenses. I think tenses are really important. You don't really need to master the entire tense because most of the words we don't use in our daily life, especially if you are just starting out. So I focused on modal verbs and tense and had the basic knowledge of these things, and I started learning this language naturally. So if you still have this question in your mind that should you learn grammar or not, so let me make this point very clear to you that if you're someone who wants to have everything structured and you do not want to make grammatical errors because of anything, whether you want to be perfect or reason could be anything, then go study grammar. But if you're someone who wants to absorb things naturally, then don't focus on grammar, because once you get into this part, it will drain you. So this is something I'm speaking from my experience. I tried learning grammar because I thought once I would master grammar, then I'm going to speak English fluently. It drained my energy and I had to quit. But the next time when I started out, I did not pay enough attention to grammar. And that's how I started going on. So it's completely up to you, but you have to be sure that no matter what you are doing, whether you are learning grammar or not, there are chances that you are going to make mistakes. So it's completely up to you which path you want to choose. So that's all about this video. I hope I could make your points clear and help you to some extent. So thank you so much for watching this video. I hope I will be back very soon in the next video. Bye bye.